From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Don Mitchell. Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke today with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy as he prepares to head to the United States. Zelenskyy set to visit Florida over the weekend for a meeting with President Donald Trump on a potential agreement to end the war with Russia, a plan the Ukrainian leader says is about 90% ready. A statement from Carney's office says the PM and Ukrainian leader discussed the latest negotiations to end the war. There's very few places in Canada today that are escaping winter as the country's weather agency maintains several warnings going into tomorrow. Extreme cold, strong winds, heavy snow, and freezing rain are predicted in regions from coast to coast. In Newfoundland and Labrador, blizzard-like conditions are expected in the Cartwright Bay Vert areas with up to 60 centimeters of snow predicted. A mix of freezing rain, snow, and ice is expected across southern Ontario tonight, with some areas seeing up to 15 centimeters of white stuff. Out west, Environment Canada warning of extreme cold in the northern parts of Alberta, British Columbia, and the Yukon, with wind chill values of minus 55 in the Dawson, Beaver Creek areas. A nonprofit organization is taking time to remind people of safety rules when engaging in on-ice activities. This following the tragic death of a man in his 40s and a child this week. The Quebec Life-Saving Society says it deals with an average of 6 to 8 winter drownings per year. Quebec Provincial Police say the man and the child were clearing snow with a tractor Wednesday northeast of Montreal when the vehicle sank into a nearby lake. A U.S. airstrike targeting an alleged Islamic State camp in Nigeria caused panic and lit up the sky in the small village of Jabo. Yesterday, residents were reportedly anxious as they witnessed a red glow emanating from where U.S. forces made its strike. President Donald Trump explained the action on alleged ISIS terrorists as retaliation for the targeting and killing of Christians in the West African nation. Former head of the CIA's Clandestine Activities in Africa Division, Daryl Blocker, tells ABC he doesn't believe the U.S. strike is going to do much to deter terrorist activities in the region.
I don't think a strike like this is going to deter anyone from doing anything. Quite frankly, ISIS has been there for the past 10 years in the form of the West African province, which is probably the folks that were not targeted. So I'm not sure that the president is getting all of the information that he needs in this regard.
The Nigerian government confirmed it cooperated with the U.S. in its strike, but did not disclose details about the militants targeted. And Summer McIntosh is the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year in 2025 for a third straight year. The 19-year-old from Toronto won 4 gold medals at the World Championships after setting 3 world records at national trials. McIntosh says she felt Canadians cheering her on all year.
It keeps me motivated in the times where, you might be tired or something, and you just have to keep pushing, moving forward, knowing that Canada's behind you and supporting you.
McIntosh was the overwhelming choice for CP's Female Athlete of the Year with 34-53 votes. Rugby player Sophie DeGood was second with 8. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Sweden kicked off the World Junior Hockey Championship with a 3-2 victory over Slovakia in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Swedes getting a late third-period goal from Ivar Stenberg to win it. Sweden will be looking to get back onto the podium after a 4th-place finish last year. Canada opens its tournament against Czechia in Minneapolis tonight. In the NHL, the Toronto Maple Leafs have hired Steve Sullivan as an assistant coach. Sullivan joins the club after being an assistant with the Leafs American Hockey League affiliate, the Toronto Marlies. The move comes after the Leafs fired assistant Mark Savard on Monday. Savard was responsible for coordinating the power play, which Toronto has been at the bottom of the league at only 13%. 9 games in the NBA tonight. The Toronto Raptors are in Washington to take on the Wizards. The Raptors coming off a 112-91 win over Miami on Tuesday. They sit 4th in the Eastern Conference at 18-13. The Wizards are on a 2-game losing streak, and they're last in the East with a 5-23 record. From the Canadian Press, I'm Don Mitchell.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.